Russia is facing a powerful shift in weather. Storms that arrive without warning, floods that swallow entire neighborhoods, and cities struggling to respond. From Moscow's submerged highways to St. Petersburg's storm-battered coast and massive river floods in the Urals, the country is witnessing some of its most extreme weather in recent years. Today, we're breaking down what's happening, why it's getting worse, and how these events are reshaping life across Russia. Chapter 1. What's happening across Russia? Let's start with the events that grabbed national and international attention. In Moscow, a sudden cloudburst recently turned the capital's streets into rivers. Cars floated in underground tunnels, metro entrances overflowed, and emergency crews raced to pump water out of flooded neighborhoods. The rainfall was so intense that a full month's worth of precipitation fell in just a couple of hours. In St. Petersburg, powerful storms pounded the city with strong winds and high waves, pushing water levels in the Neva River dangerously high. Authorities issued warnings, closed embankments, and activated flood defenses as the city braced itself against nature's pressure. Meanwhile, in the Urals, flooding became even more destructive. Rapid snowmelt combined with heavy spring rain caused rivers to spill over, especially in regions like Orenburg. Entire villages were evacuated as homes were swept away and dams were pushed to their limits. Thousands of people were displaced, forcing the government to issue emergency declarations. These events aren't isolated. They're part of a growing pattern that experts have been watching closely. Chapter 2. Why this is happening. The big question is, why is Russia experiencing such intense storms and floods? One major factor is the increase in global and regional temperatures. Warmer air holds more moisture, which means when storms form, they release heavier, more concentrated rainfall. This leads to flash floods, exactly like the ones seen in Moscow. Another factor is rapid snowmelt. Much of Russia has long, cold winters with deep snow cover. But sudden warm spells in spring cause that snow to melt quickly. When combined with heavy rain, rivers swell beyond capacity, putting pressure on dams and flooding downstream communities. Coastal cities face another challenge. St. Petersburg's location on the Gulf of Finland makes it vulnerable to storm surges. Strong winds can push seawater inland, raising water levels in the Neva River and overwhelming the city's drainage systems. In short, the combination of warmer temperatures, intense rainfall, rapid snowmelt, and coastal vulnerability is creating a perfect storm, literally. Chapter 3. Impact on people and cities. These weather events don't just make headlines, they reshape daily life. Families lose their homes to rising waters. Roads and bridges crack or collapse under pressure. Power outages leave thousands in the dark. Businesses shut down, transportation networks get disrupted, and local industries suffer heavy losses. In many cases, residents have only minutes to evacuate. Emergency services do their best, but the scale of flooding sometimes overwhelms even the most prepared responders. The cost of repairing damaged infrastructure runs into billions, and experts warn that economically vulnerable regions may take years to recover fully. There's also the human toll. Floodwater often brings contaminated sewage, which raises the risk of infections and diseases. Standing water becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes. And thousands of people, especially children and the elderly, suffer from stress, trauma, and displacement. Chapter 4. How authorities are responding. Russia's emergency services, known as EMERCOM, have been heavily involved in rescue operations. They've deployed boats, helicopters, pumps, and temporary shelters to help stranded residents. Compensation programs have been announced in several regions to help families rebuild homes and replace lost belongings. In big cities, drainage systems are being upgraded, and authorities are looking for better flood management solutions. However, challenges remain. Some areas rely on older infrastructure that wasn't designed for modern climate extremes. Dams and levees in certain regions need maintenance or reinforcement. Rapid urbanization has also added pressure. More concrete and less open land means water has fewer places to go. While response efforts are strong, experts agree that prevention and long-term planning are becoming increasingly critical. Chapter 5. What cities are doing to adapt. To protect themselves from future disasters, Russian cities are exploring new strategies. Some include expanding stormwater drainage capacity, installing flood barriers, enforcing stricter building codes, and using green infrastructure like parks and wetlands to naturally absorb rainfall. St. Petersburg's massive flood protection dam is an example of long-term planning paying off, although extreme storms still test its limits. For cities deep inland, better river management, early warning systems, and updated engineering standards are becoming priorities. Scientists also stress the importance of data. Tracking rainfall patterns, river behavior, and climate shifts can help cities predict risks and plan smarter. Chapter 6: A Global Wake-Up Call. Russia's situation is part of a much larger trend. Extreme weather is becoming more common across the world, and cities everywhere, from Europe to Asia to the Americas, are being forced to rethink how they prepare for and respond to natural disasters. The storms and floods hitting Russian cities are a reminder that climate impacts are no longer distant or theoretical. They're happening now, reshaping communities, economies, and the way people live. Conclusion: Russia is facing nature's wrath in ways it hasn't seen before. Faster storms, heavier rainfall, stronger winds, and bigger floods. But with better planning, stronger infrastructure, and smarter emergency systems, the country can reduce future risks. If you found this breakdown helpful, consider subscribing for more deep dive explainers on global events, climate issues, and how they affect real people. And let me know in the comments which city or region you'd like me to cover next.